Once again, this is Mondays with Matt, sitting here with Matt Marchand, and we're talking about the latest component of your platform entitled Community Livability. This is available for you to read on your own at votemarchand.com. And we're going to spend some time looking and explaining what community livability means. It's a big phrase. What do you think of when you think of the words community livability?
Well, it's a great question, and we've knocked on literally thousands of doors and talked to hundreds, if not more than that, people. And one of the things that comes up at the door when you talk to people, what can we do for families that's either low cost or no cost? What can we do to get from point A to point B safely? What is it that we can do to participate more broadly as a community? And this livability concept comes up quite a bit. Where can I bring my kids? Where's a place to play? Where can I go see things like low-cost concerts or free concerts? What are some of those things that we can, as Windsorites, enjoy in our community for minimal or no cost using the assets or infrastructure that we have in place, or could be in place at relatively low cost?
What kind of ideas do you have as far as, the thing that drew me was the word affordable,
yes.
Right? How do we find out what events are going on and what are events that we could maybe be involved with that would be open for families to be able to attend and enjoy?
Yeah, well, certainly our waterfront comes to mind. So obviously, there's the amphitheater, and there's things to do there sometimes in the summertime, not all the time. We think there's opportunity to improve on that. In the southern part of the ward, not as much, but there's opportunity there as time goes on. But a couple of things that really come to mind, and our campaign didn't have to travel very far. We looked at Detroit, and we looked at sort of the renaissance that they've had, starting at the Renaissance Center, GM World headquarters. What are they doing right, and what can we learn from Detroit for low cost or free activities down at the waterfront? And their summer calendar is really jammed downtown. They've got jazz festivals, they have this and that. Yeah. What is that we can do to learn from that and apply on our end? And certainly a couple of things come to mind. One is this space called the Dequindre Cut, an old railway cut starting at Jefferson Avenue. It takes you right to Eastern Market, so there's events there that you can use, and there's also events at Shane Park and other things like that. So they have a lot of free events going on for little or no cost. I know we have some here, obviously. We have lots of events going on downtown and so forth, and that's great. But is there an opportunity to do more? Yeah, I certainly think so. I think families are looking for places to go, things to see, use equipment, whether it's a splash pad or a playground or a sandbox that they have at Atwater Beach in Detroit. We do have opportunities, particularly we have some unused park space, and I think we have lots of opportunity there. You
see that as the livability side of things, the ability.
It's certainly part of it. Are we? A lot of the comments I get, particularly in the ward, is I'd like the place to bring my kids. Where can we go for some low cost activities or no cost activities? Let other cities have that. For example, we may not have in certain parts, and certainly, the waterfront comes to mind. We have other parks as well, but the waterfront's got some more space. There's trails there already. There's some infrastructure there. So for example, on our waterfront, is there an opportunity to put some more lighting on there, safe lighting, have it at the Dequindre Cut, so that people can feel safe at night, whether you're walking or running or want to use your bike. And those are some of the things that if you look at the Dequindre Cut, it's very wide. They got exercise equipment on the side.
Okay.
It's extremely bright, and you see people out there all the time. And when it's at nighttime, it's so bright, you can't tell if it's day or night. Really, it's super bright. And every 75 meters or 100 yards, they've got these big red boxes that are emergency, phones and surveillance equipment. It's just a wonderful attraction. It's something that certainly we can look at on our waterfront. I know it's kind of dark there at night sometimes. If we certainly could use to brighten that up, to have safety, have people enjoy the waterfront without fear of being in too much of a dark space. Sure. We've talked about that in our crime stuff about the darkness.
Yeah. It's really interesting that over the course of Mondays with Matt, we've talked about different projects that have happened in cities in California and different places around the world. But you're talking minutes over the border.
Yes, minutes, and to your point, certainly I think it's an opportunity for us, if elected, to take a trip over to downtown Detroit, particularly on that easterly portion between the GM World headquarters and Belle Isle. They've done a tremendous amount of work. They got the private sector involved. They've took an old cement silo place and turned it into a beach volleyball. They've got places to eat. They got a splash pad for kids. You can have a beverage on the waterfront, enjoy the space. Here, our waterfront is you can't either use the bathroom or get a drink.
Extremely limited, right?
Yeah, from all the way from Walker to almost downtown. So on a hot day, there's limited things to do. There's no shade. We don't have enough beach chairs with shade. There's certainly an opportunity for us to have a space where families can go down to the waterfront and they can spend some time there, enjoy the beautiful view, which we have a spectacular view, and have something for their kids to do. And there's whether splash pad or playground equipment, for the kids, and the adults can go somewhere and get something to eat or drink. But again, on our space, there's really no place to eat, drink, or use the bathroom for a long way. And on a hot day,
to young families,
Yeah.
older families,
Yeah.
those things are important.
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom? How quickly can we get the kids there? What are the things that are going to make our trip easier, and so we can stay out longer? Right?
Exactly, and there's no what they find in Detroit. And if we do this walk, and I would invite members of City Council and administration to take a walk over there and say, this used to be a very industrial, area, which
Right.
not a lot going on. It was an old, a lot of the old barge docks. You can still see the big boat areas, and they transformed it into this tremendous space that is really enviable. And yet, scratch your head and go, wow, they really did this. They got everybody involved, community. They got the public sector involved, the private sector involved. They got donations, and just did a tremendous job on that. The waterfront space is great, and it's a great asset for us. But is there a better way that we can use it, to take advantage of that asset? It's an asset that's rare, and I'm not saying we do a bunch of things on it, but are some limited things that we can do to make that space available for more family things to do. And I think a tour over through to that portion of Detroit waterfront, we might get some interesting ideas to address some of the things I'm hearing at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Low-cost activities, no-cost activities. We want to enjoy the outdoors, and that's certainly one thing that we should look at.
Really sounds like it ties in the idea of beautification that we've talked about before.
Yeah, 100%. And they've just done a tremendous job. I can't emphasize that enough. And they have events down there too. They have a run, which I've done. You run Dequindre Cut, and it's kind of on the waterfront. It's kind of a fun event. But it just reiterated to me when I was actually doing that event, this is pretty special what they got going on here. Is there an opportunity for us to do something like that here?
Okay.
And there just might be, but we're going to need people to experience it first. And I think by going over there and walking around, and people saying, "Hey, this is interesting," and it's a mile away, but we haven't looked at it.
Yeah.
So.
And you've spent time looking at some of the things that they're doing in Detroit. What have you seen are some of the benefits to the community and what they've been doing?
Well, it's great because I've been over there a number of times just to view what's going on. It's very busy. If you go over there on an afternoon in the summertime, you've got people playing music. You've got vendors over here. You've got kids are playing, volleyball. They have a volleyball sand pit. So like we have at Sandpoint Beach, which is a great thing. You got splash pad for kids. The adults are over here, sort of, having an ice cream or whatever, a small little cafe. I think that's great because you're getting the family down, and really just enjoy the space. You're on the waterfront playing volleyball or in the splash pad. And it's just a wonderful experience for families.
It's really interesting too when I look at this document. As I was reading through it, the things that I was seeing were how it really ties in the arts community, how it really ties in the recreational and sports community into what's what the potential is for our spaces.
We have tremendous space opportunities, and again, if we sometimes don't know what you have until you look what others are doing.
Right.
And you look over there and say, "Wow, this is pretty cool. They've got all this going on." I understand they're bigger. There's more dollars available. I get all that, and our campaign understands that. But on a smaller scale, is there something that we can do for families to go downtown or at least on the waterfront portion, between Higham Walker and downtown? Is there something for families to do?
Sure.
Have some shaded space. I've heard stories of people going for a run and they have to stop and use the bathroom. There's no bathroom for 2 kilometers or whatever the distance is, and no place to get a drink. All these sort of things. The shaded areas a little shaky. Nighttime it's not lit particularly well.
All these things that have to be built into the infrastructure.
All
right?
these things, but we have some infrastructure there. We've got the great view. We've got a trail there, and there's lots of good things. Like the infrastructure portion is there. Can we build on it to make it even better?
Sure.
And the interesting portion of that is that when I was the chamber CEO in dealing with companies, they want to locate in places where their employees want to have livability things that their family can do. Hey, we're going to move here to XYZ community. Here's the benefits. We have trails. We have this and that and all this great stuff, and it makes it a sell feature as well. So it's just better all in all, and it's certainly something I think we can capitalize upon.
It's funny. I've known a lot of people over the last several years that have moved to Windsor from other cities, and in many ways, they're the greatest selling point for this city because they come here and they're like, I've yet to find somebody that says that they aren't crazy about the city. They really like it after kind of living in other places most of their lives. It really is interesting. But livability, as you said, is a key component to having people that want to stay here.
Yeah, the livability, the affordability.
Open businesses.
Yeah, open businesses. The affordability piece. We're in, more economic turmoil is upon us through higher inflation, and we want to make sure that the people that live here have amenities to enjoy, and can participate in the waterfront and activities for their kids. Wouldn't it be nice just before dinner or after dinner go down to the waterfront? The kids want to run through the splash pad downtown and watch the freighters go by and the boats and everything. Yeah. It's really kind of a cool picture. Especially when you see it from the Detroit side looking at Windsor side. That's the point I want to make. When you look at it when you're in downtown Detroit, you get all this traffic on the waterfront. You get bikes and rollerblades and kids and beach chairs and all sorts of interactive activities for people to do. You look across to the Windsor side at the exact same moment, and there's nothing going on. It's just an interesting juxtaposition. And you say, can we do better, or can we look at something? I always say this: can we look at what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong? Yeah, why we're not doing that? Yeah. And it's just sometimes it just takes an outside perspective. Just if you just stand across there and look across, go, something hits you, and
it may just take a fresh voice, a fresh
voice, a fresh look, and I think that's why I think a tour. We called forth that in our news release on this very issue. Why not have a look at it? And you can look at it and say, no, I don't want to do that. That's fine. I'm so happy with the status quo. Or you can say, well, maybe there's some ideas here that we can lift and get the community on board for it. Maybe there's not, but there's a good chance that there are some ideas that we can lift on there. Again, make our community livable, attract businesses to stay here and get new ones in here. Because as I said, when you talk to business leaders, as I have, on and off for, since, mid-90s, they want a place to go where they can sell it to their family. I want to move here because there's X, Y, Z amenities for us and our family, and there's a place for the kids to play, and it's safe, it's lit, and isn't that great? And it's a selling feature for us, I think.
Okay. What role does livability play when it comes to bike lanes?
Well, bike lanes are something that's near and dear to me personally because, I have done a couple triathlons. I know the importance of biking, but I also understand, too, that riding a bike on the street is often, not the safest place to be. That's why I'm a huge advocate for protected bike lanes. And we have to have a space for the separation of traffic between bikes and cars. And don't get me wrong, I like the white line is nice, and I get it. But is that really, a safety thing? It's a good start. It's at least people are thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you have to start somewhere. White line is down the road is a start.
Right.
But ultimately, we need to get to a space where we have protected bike lanes, particularly in some of the more busy streets where it can be dangerous to ride. You don't want that in your community. And that gets to the livability thing. Can I take my bike? If I wanted to go visit you, can I just ride my bike over? Well, it's probably easy, safer, quicker to drive versus hopping on my bike and then popping over. Even though the distance isn't that great, the safety factor as well, right? So would you let your 10-year-old kid ride his bike or her bike down that? And I think in most cases the answer was, well, maybe not, probably maybe not. So by having that protected bike lane, it's a situation where, that the safety level is high, and, you certainly feel better having, children in that lane versus between the white line and the curb, right? So that's really a key point. It's a safety issue too. And we're calling for pilot projects for protected bike lanes. And I think that once people see them and use them, they'll say, oh, this is a great idea. But again, it's getting that, into the conversation, right? Into the conversation.
How do you propose some of these things, some of these ideas may be covered, may be paid for?
Well, it's interesting, our campaign looked at that. If you look at what happened, just for example, in Detroit, tremendous philanthropy from the corporate sector. The business sector really stepped up. They're sponsoring a whole bunch of things. If you look at the Atwater Beach area, it's now been renamed in benefit of their sponsor. And
Right.
I think when you get that corporate engagement along with the community engagement, it really binds the community together. That this is
The two work together.
100%.
Okay.
So you got the public sector, the private sector, you got the philanthropy. People want to be a part of it. And again, success breeds success. They,
Right.
Corporations, and small companies, they want to be attached to something that people like and are using. So I think there's an opportunity there. To do that, I engaged obviously with the business community as the CEO of the chamber for 6 years. We have a tremendously generous business community. I think on some of
Absolutely.
these things we could certainly, get some participation.
And in your career, you've seen those interests come together, the corporate and the community interests.
Absolutely, and I think we can certainly do that here. And I think we can reach out to our business community on some of these ideas and say, would you like to be a part of this? And at what level would you like to be?
Sure.
And I think there'd be a positive response to that.
It's really interesting when you see the vibrancy, when you see events happening, you see things going on in parks in the city. You get excited about what's going on. You want to go find out what's going on. There's several times when I've driven by and I'm like, oh, what's going on there? I better go find out what that is. Or I see food trucks gathered together.
Yeah.
That gets my attention.
Sure.
Food trucks together, it's a wicked combination. But it's one of those things, it's like, as you said, success breeds success. The more people start to see these things, affordable events for their families, they can bring the kids to, they can come and play, the more there will be.
Exactly. That's really
based on the
it.
success.
And then success breeds success, right? You get a couple small successes. You don't have to do everything all at once.
Right.
A small piece here and a small piece there, and sooner or later you have something pretty special that people want to get on board with. And it's not necessarily exclusively to the waterfront, although I think there's opportunities there based on what's going on in Detroit. Mm-hmm. But there are other parts of the board too that there may be opportunities as well. We need to look at everything in totality, because there's going to be spots on the board where playground equipment needs to be replaced. They need a splash pad there. They need a place for kids to to play safely here. So there's lots of opportunities throughout the board, to do that. And I think we certainly look forward to working with our our neighbors and friends to get that done.
Well, Matt, you've given us a lot to think about. If you want to find out more, you can download this document, read it for yourselves. And if you want to submit questions, a great place to do that is at votemarchand.com. You're fielding questions. You still have the box in front of your home as well.
The idea box is up and running.
The idea box is there. So there are many ways that you can get a hold of Matt, share your ideas. As you said, he's knocking on doors, wants to find out what people are thinking, find out what's going on in the ward. And you have every opportunity to submit questions or to drop something in the idea box. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But definitely recommend, if you want more information, check out this document available at votemarchand.com. And again, Matt, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Enjoying
Great
spending my
seeing you.
Mondays with you.
Thank you.